Welcome to This is Jax. Thanks for getting on. If it's your first time here, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notifications. Would love to see you back. A lot of useful information here. Today, I'm going to talk about how will the four seasons affect my property value in Jacksonville. Jacksonville is seeing a lot of growth right now. Growth that I think is pretty exciting. And the shipyards, Jacksonville Shipyards, phase one being developed into what will be the Four Seasons Resort, which is pretty exciting. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk what will it take for prices to come down. Are prices coming down? Is there a crash in sight? I know there's some people sitting on the sidelines thinking, I'm going to wait till the market crashes to buy a house. We're going to talk about this a little bit, and maybe it'll help you if you're on the fence, help you decide. There's some pros and cons to that. Welcome to This is Jax, a hyper-local podcast. We're going to do our best. We're going to bring on successful business owners, the people who drive the cities, share a lot about what makes our city so great. So you can be confident and comfortable. This is a city that you want to call home. So let's get into it. First, though, I do want to talk about NEFAR stats. Northeast Florida stats for November are out. These stats come on the 10th of every month, so we're a little bit into December, so we got November's. Let's look at median sales price. Year to date, we're up 2.9%. So median sale price in Jacksonville, in Northeast Florida, really, is $391,000. So if you're buying an average house in Jacksonville, $391,000. So a lot of times people will come to me, hey, I want a 2-car garage. I want granite counters. I want tile floors, move-in ready, stainless steel, and I've got $200,000 to do it. I just want to let you know average price in Jacksonville is $391,000, and you just described an average house. So no, that's what it takes. Up 2.9% though. Looking at that, we say on average 3 to 5% growth. So we are seeing that correction from that COVID market where we saw so much growth. That 2.9%, nobody lost value, but we're seeing a slower growth. We're going to talk a little bit later about what expected growth for 2025 is. Closed sales, we're down 2.8%. That's expected. Remember, it was an election year. If you listen to the previous episodes, you'll know that the national average historically is like down 15% in sales. So being that we're only down 2.8%, yes, our market is slowing here in Jacksonville, in Northeast Florida, but we're above average. That's because people want to move here regardless of what's going on in the economy, regardless of what's going on in government. Month supply of inventory. This is something to pay attention here. Month supply of inventory is up to 5.5%. So we're up 74% year to date. That is a big jump. 5.5%. That's a pretty balanced market. Now, if it goes much higher, 7, 8, 9 month supply of inventory, then we're looking, that's not a healthy market. So we want to stay 5, 6 month supply of inventory. If we're seeing 1, 2 month supply inventory like we were seeing during that COVID boom, then that's where you're getting 20, 30 offers, 20, 40 grand over ask. It's really competitive. It's hard for the average person to purchase a home. So that's unhealthy. So right there, 5, 6 month supply of inventory. That's where we want to be. Let's talk about our goal next year. My goal next year is to help 50 families sell or buy real estate. I'm making this fun. So May 21st, 2025, I'm hosting a VIP dinner. I'm taking my VIPs out to the Refinery Jax Beach. It's on me. Taking you out to eat. I'd love for you to be there to celebrate with me. Everyone knows 3 to 5 people who sell or buy real estate each year. I'm just asking you to send 2 of them my way. So if you send me 2 referrals that close before May 21st, I'm taking you out to dinner. So if you want more information on that, just head to rigsgroupfl.com. You'll find it there. Let's talk about what's going on. What will it take for prices to come down? You may be wondering if prices are going to crash. And believe it or not, there are some folks who actually want the market to crash. They think that when prices come down, it's going to be easier for them to purchase a home. I want to talk a little bit about the data and see what it does, right? But, experts, they agree it's not really what's in the cards, and we'll go over why. But first, the idea of a housing market crash is often fueled by memories of 2008, the financial crisis. Several factors had to align for that crash to occur, and there's a breakdown of those contributing factors that I want to go over, some notes that I've made here, their effects on the broader economy, And most importantly, the implications for buyers waiting for the crash. So if you're a buyer waiting for the crash, we're going to get into some things that may help you rethink that. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Here's contributing factors to a housing market crash. Overinflated home prices relative to income. We saw growth during the pandemic, but we already saw a slight correction. We just kind of talked about that. And also the COVID boom really brought us back to where we would have been had the market not crashed in 2008. So what happened was they were building too many homes. It came up and it spiked. The market crashed and then they went way down. And for like 15 years, they didn't even build enough homes. And that's part of why prices are high today, which we're going to talk about. Prices are high today because there's fewer homes available than the people who can afford to buy homes. I know it seems confusing because there might be people sitting there saying, okay, but I want to buy a home and I can't afford this home. So how is there two homes? Well, if there were more homes on the market, supply and demand tells us the price of those homes would be lower, which would actually make it easier and more affordable for you to buy. High interest rates. Sometimes interest rates are used to slow down the market. Excessive housing supply. Overbuilding creates a surplus of homes, causing the price to drop as sellers compete for buyers. Economic recession, job losses, and reduced consumer spending. These are all, remember, contributing factors to a housing. Loose lending standards. So lenders, unqualified buyers creates that bubble. That's what happened in 2008. So many unqualified buyers. And then when those buyers weren't able to make their payments, that large number of foreclosures crashed the market, right? So today, lending practices are much stronger. So let's look at what are the effects of a housing crash on the economy. How does it affect you? Because remember, if you're saying, okay, if these things, five things we just went over take place, then the market's going to crash. House prices are going to be way down and it's my time to shine. I'm buying a house. Well, let's look at the effects of a housing crash on the economy. Financial sector instability. A lot of times banks, financial institutions who are holding mortgage-backed securities, they may face losses. This might lead to tighter credit conditions. A whole bank may go away, or the banks that are still there are going to say, hold on, I'm going to be careful with my money because we need it to survive. So it's going to be harder to borrow money. The wealth effect, failing homeowners, their net worth falls down. When people have a lower net worth, they spend less. This actually slows economic growth. Construction industry decline, reduces demand, leads to layoff in construction and related sectors. So think about that. I talked about in 2008, the market crash, and then we stopped building houses. Well, that didn't mean we just stopped building houses and the big box builders started losing money, but all the construction workers lost their job as well. This creates this kind of ripple effect, which is number 4, ripple effect on jobs. All of these industries, furniture, home improvement, Home Depot, Lowe's, the trades, they all suffer. And then it leads to increased foreclosure. So a crash housing market is an overall bad market. It is not a good thing. People are losing their jobs. The suicide rate is up, and it becomes harder for the average person to just survive. So what happens to the buyers? Can the buyer get approved? You're sitting there as a renter, you're paying rent, and you're waiting and waiting and waiting. If the crash is tied to economic downturn, many buyers could face job insecurities. This makes it really hard to obtain financing. So if you lose your job, you're not getting approved for a loan. And but there will be opportunities. So who are the opportunities for? Prepared buyers. Prepared buyers, there's an opportunity with a strong financial standing, good credit, low debt, stable income, and a savings for a down payment. They might find it a good time to buy. You want to be cash strong. You want to be credit strong when the market crashes so that you can capitalize on it if that's your game plan. Okay, there's risk involved. We're going to talk about it in a second. Don't forget, you're going to be competing with every investor out there. Pro investors who have been making money are now going to reinvest their profits into the market when it comes down. So it could be fierce in a down market. We'll just put it that way. Is the crash likely? No one can predict it, but a 2008 style crash, it's less likely. Stronger lending standards. So after 2008, post 2008 regulations are so tight in underwriting practices, it's way more challenging. I talked to even like my parents did real estate during that time period, and I've talked to my mom even about a few of the things that happen with appraisals and everything else. And the lending practices are so much stronger. The housing supply, there's actually a shortage too. We're still dealing with the shortage of homes. There's not enough homes. I know in Northeast Florida, you might go out there and you're like, how is that true? Because it looks like they're building 1 million homes every day. Well, they're playing catch up. It took a lot of time, right? Like if somebody loses their job today, most of them are able to sell their house and put $100,000 or $200,000 in their pocket if they've owned that house for 5 or 10 years. In 2008, it went upside down. And people were short selling and foreclosing on their houses. This is what caused it. So let's talk a little bit more about what's going to happen with home prices. Let's break down and explore why nationally home prices aren't going to be coming down anytime soon. All right. So it basically works on supply and demand. We've kind of been touching that. So according to the latest estimates, the U.S. is facing a housing shortfall of several million homes. We've got a graphic here we're going to bring up in just a second. And how did we get here? For over 15 years, home builders haven't been building enough homes to keep up with buyer demands. Builders aren't overbuilding. They're trying to catch up. This is a point I just made when we look at single family housing. From 1970 to the very early 2000s, we've kind of got like a steady line where it averages out. And then what happens is you see in the early 2000s, it starts to go up and up and up. And I'm not putting number values to this. It's just a visual thing. But we can see from this chart where it peaks. And then once the market crashed in 2008, it just collapsed. And to this day, we've never got 15 years of underbuilding. We have never got to the same median line average that we ran from 1970. So for 30 years where they tracked it, we ran kind of like a level average. It peaked up and then it collapsed. Really 2020, when we kind of had a boom, we just got up, but because of COVID and stuff and supply issues, it slowed down again. So looking at this data here and this chart, we can really see that. So what about next year? Majority of experts, they agree prices will keep rising, but more at a stable, healthy pace. On average, we're seeing like that. We can see 3.1%. So that's right around where we are. And we're seeing that values are going to appreciate 3%. We like to say 3.5%. So that's kind of on the low end. There's a couple people who say, actually Moody's Analytics is saying that they'll go backwards, but AEI Housing Center is saying 5.5% appreciation. We've got 19, we're talking about Realtor.com, Fannie Mae, Housing Wire, Bright MLS, Zillow, and we're kind of averaging out all their projections. And I'll have notes to this in the show notes, but we can see that, housing prices are probably going to go up, but at a healthy rate. Bottom line is, if you're wondering what it'll take for prices to come down, it goes back to supply and demand. Inventory is still limited in most markets, including ours here in Northeast Florida. Prices are likely to remain steady and even rise some. So what about the advice for those waiting to buy? So you're still thinking, yeah, but just in case, I'm going to wait to buy. All right, look, build financial stability, okay? Improve your credit score, save for a large down payment, reduce debt, and ensure that you can qualify. You want to get in a strong cash position. In fact, that's advice for anybody looking to buy a house. Whether you're waiting to buy one during a crash or whether you're trying to buy one in 6 months, it's the same advice. You need to understand timing risk. Waiting on a crash, it's speculative, okay? And unless you're a seasoned investor with millions of dollars in the bank and a ton of experience, it's going to be hard to do. If you're a non-homeowner and you're just trying to time the market, chances are you're probably going to lose money. But look, you may miss on opportunities that are happening right now. What if the market doesn't crash? And you wait 2-3 years? Think about all the people in 2019 and 2020 that said, hey, no, I'm going to wait till the market crashes. And then what happened in 21, 22? We saw 30% growth, 30% appreciation. And even though we saw something balance back out, we didn't come back down. We're not coming back down. We're still up. And then we're projecting to go up another 3% appreciation next year. So those people that sat on the sidelines, they missed out. They lost a bunch of money. And if they buy today, they're going to pay a way higher price than they would have back then. So just consider the market conditions rather than waiting for a crash. Just watch for shifts like increased inventory or reduced competition, and that creates buyer-friendly conditions. That's a lot of talk about buying and where prices are. We're not expecting prices to come down. We're going to talk about Jacksonville Shipyards and how they're going to affect your price. But first, if you're planning to sell your home in 2025, you need to start prepping today. The process of selling your home, it's a 3 to 6 month process. And last year's sellers gains peaked in April 2024. So if you want to walk away from the closing table with the most money in your pocket, you need to start the process today, as April's just right around the corner. So head to rigsgroupfl.com/sell my home. Fill out the consult form today. Schedule your free real estate meeting. Let's talk about the shipyards. I am going to open up my screen here and do a little bit of screen sharing. This is a really cool project. I'm pretty excited about it. There should be a lot of other people excited about it. One of the biggest complaints from local Jacksonville folk is just the amount of, there's nothing to do here. And while I don't really think that's true, if you are one of those people who does think that's true, then this should make it exciting for you. So first thing I want to talk about is this new project, the shipyards, right? So the Iguana Investments Four Seasons Hotel Residence and Shipyards Office Tower. They've been working on this since October 2021. And basically, the city council approved plans for 176 room, Four Seasons, 25 private residents, 156,000 square foot Class A office tower, and a city-owned marina. There's a bunch more information on here. This is on investdtjax.com. We'll put the link in the show notes and a little map. And then over here on firstdowntownjacksonville.com, we see more of it where they're building this restoring Met Park. This is right in the downtown area, basically in the sports complex right next to Everbank Field. Pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this, but look at these photos. This is the Four Seasons here. Here's a rendering shot from the dock. They've got like docks here at the marina and then the Four Seasons Hotel, which is kind of this like boomerang shape with some tiered balcony rooms that's going to look over the river, which is really cool. I like in this one photo here, you can see Jacksonville's been putting some work into these like automized little buses and trails. And it looks like they're going to try to incorporate that into this, which is great if they do. And then you've got obviously you're going to bring restaurants and everything else. So I think that's really cool. I mean, a beautiful entry there. It looks really modern. And so I'm excited about that. There's a bunch of information on there. It talks about the history of the docks, which is cool. I mean, the property's been sitting vacant. It's definitely seen better days, but their best days are ahead. Phase 1's going to include construction of Four Seasons Hotel, Residence Jacksonville, restored Met Park, 6-story office building, and modernized city-owned marina. And when you go down low enough, you can see mapping our momentum, which I think is really cool. And you can kind of hover over it. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this, but basically as you move your mouse around, you can see the marina. This is phase 2. Here's the office tower, and then it gives little bits about it. So if you're interested in the future of Jacksonville and what's going on downtown, I definitely recommend checking this out. Four Seasons, they've got 133 hotels and resorts around worldwide. They're really nice. So, it's a quality over quantity thing. Definitely. There's 350 major cities in the U.S. So they have, for us to get one, is pretty exciting. I'm looking at the Google map right now, and I just want to show kind of this area. If you go to Google and you look at Everbank Stadium, you can pull up and you can see the construction site right there, the phase 1 and 2 area. So this isn't just not some sort of rendering that's just like, hey, someday this might happen. Construction's already underway. And if we swipe over here, we can see the completed image and with the stadium of tomorrow. And there's always people moving to this area. And then most folks, because of the recovery that we had, basically like the COVID boom was a recovery of equity. Many homeowners now have a significant amount. Remember, 2008, people didn't have, this is really enhancing downtown. So all of that is well and good, but what we want to know is how does it how does it affect your property values? The redevelopment of Jacksonville Shipyards, it's got potential to significantly affect property owners in Jacksonville area several ways. So let's just kind of talk about them real quick. Property value appreciation, the introduction of luxury amenities like a Four Seasons. This could overall elevate the overall desirability of the surrounding neighborhoods. It's going to bring in more prestigious, potentially driving up property values there, right? A lot of investors. I personally know investors that for years have been buying vacant land or rundown properties and just sitting on that property downtown, waiting for a project like this. And now that it's approved, now that it's under construction, the value of their land, I mean, that's how you invest, right? They were maybe buying $10,000, $20,000 plot of land, maybe less, even some $3,000, $5,000. I mean, this is years back before COVID, local investors. And this isn't the big box investor. This is you and me, guys with normal jobs that are out here, taking a little bit of our savings and putting it in this land. That's how you invest on a small scale in real estate, right? And we're going to see economic growth from this. We're going to attract business and tourism. High profile developments tend to attract more business, conventions, and tourists as we get a new stadium, as we get a marina, as we get activities and things to do. Remember a couple episodes back, we talked about the 5 main parts of the economy here in Jacksonville, and tourism isn't even one of them. So now we're kind of adding that to, how we work and live here. This economic boost can create job opportunities, which in turn creates housing demand. We just talked about how demand keeps your houses high. So if you're a property owner and you're thinking, how is these developments downtown? Why should I care about them? Well, you should care about them because they're going to increase your the value of your home. The demand is up. The value of your home is up. We can also see shifts in the market dynamics, right? So luxury real estate expansion, compared to Tampa or Miami, you might say, well, Jacksonville is not a big luxury city, but you start bringing stuff like this in. Now you're attracting luxury buyers, luxury builders, luxury investors, right? You might get some high-end developments. There could be a shift towards more upscale housing projects in the downtown area. This appeals to affluent buyers and renters, right? So again, if you've got a little bit of money set aside, there's still probably an opportunity to try and get some properties. Now that the word's out, maybe not, right? But lifestyle enhancements. So not only does it increase the value of your home, but it's increased amenities. Property owners in Jacksonville, you could enjoy these yourself. There's going to be more restaurants down there, more events that you could go to potentially. And then we see real estate investment opportunities. We kind of already talked about that, but the new developments reflect confidence in Jacksonville's growth and the future and the potential here. So for property owners, this means a mix of opportunities and challenges depending on how the city manages the growth, but affordability and infrastructure development. So we've got a lot going on here in Jacksonville right now. Kind of just in closing, look at what we talked about. We said, hey, over the next year, the data shows that our values are going to continue to appreciate. We're probably going to see continued growth here in Jacksonville. And then we've got all these projects coming in, which are only going to enhance that. So if you are definitely trying to plug in your roots here in Jacksonville, I recommend it. It's a place that I love. And so thanks for listening to This is Jack's podcast. For more information or you want to contact me, just go to rigsgroupfl.com. rigsgroupfl.com. All the information. There's actually a blog on these topics posted. So would love to see you there. Thanks again. This is Jack's.